When I had to learn how to quilt, you know, I was a unit short at San Francisco State University and I had 1 month to finish a quilt. I didn't know that you could quilt on a hoop. I thought you had to quilt on a frame. So I explained to my dad what I needed in a frame, and we went next door and gently borrowed the Ingham's lumber. I think it's called thievery in real life. My dad chipped the concrete off the wood. It was for concrete forms, and he made me my frame. I'm really fortunate that I got to learn on a frame because that's, I think, why I can quilt in all directions. But if you're a novice hand quilter, you do want to start with a hoop. I like hoops that are about 16 inches wide, and you want it to be a quilting hoop. See how wide this is right here? Right there? Yeah. You don't want it to be an embroidery hoop. It won't stand up. Also, this particular hoop I love. It's on a stand. So the hoop doesn't flop all over the joint when you're working on it. But for starting out, go to your quilt shop and just get yourself a 14 or 16 inch wooden hoop. In the end, you will go to a frame if you fall in love with the process, but you really don't want to commit to that until you know you love the process. And speaking of the process, I should have said this in the very first lesson. It takes practice, okay? Some people come to hand quilting like a duck to water. Others, it's an excruciatingly painful experience. I would find myself in the second category. I knew I had to graduate, had to finish that quilt, so I was going to hand quilt come or high water, you know what I'm talking about? My stitches were horrible. They were 2 to the inch. Horrible. But by George, I was going to get out of that college. So I didn't lay judgment down on my quilting stitch. I simply wanted to graduate. If you're learning to hand quilt, I don't want to hear one complaint from you until you've practiced for 20 hours. That's right, 20 hours. Then you can come whining if you haven't figured it out.